Mookie Betts gets eliminated early from Home Run Derby, which is a blessing. Reports are circulating that LAFC is about to lose the heart of its midfield, and the Clippers are not in the running for Damian Lillard. Good morning, I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. So it is July 11th, 2023. I'm in an excellent mood. We have continued to add subscribers to the Angeleno Familia. Thank you. I appreciate you guys because we're trying to keep LA informed, especially after what went down at the LA Times yesterday. And if you are a scribe at the LA Times, I used to be a sports scribe. I get it. I was downsized too. Keep your head up. You can land on your feet. But we are trying to build something in the meantime for LA. And if you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. I try to get back to every last one of you guys. Now, before we go through the news and notes, let's look at the scoreboard. Yesterday, nothing. Today, nothing. I'm not even going to watch the All-Star game. My plans are basically staring at my wife until she threatens to call the police. What can I tell you? She's very pretty. Let's get to the news. Mookie Betts took part in Home Run Derby yesterday and was eliminated by eventual champion Vladimir Guerrero Jr. of Toronto. Betts hit 11 home runs in the first round. That was the fewest of any participant in any round. To which I say, great. Absolutely great. Why do I want Mookie Betts to potentially ruin his swing for some ESPN goofball presentation? Home Run Derby has only been around for a couple of decades. Baseball history, since they brought Home Run Derby into existence, has been littered with one champion after another going through a lengthy slump after the All-Star game because they have changed their swing completely, just trying to golf shot home runs over the fence. The Dodgers right now are technically in first place in the NL West. I say technically because it's only by a couple of percentage points. The Arizona Diamondbacks are tied with the Dodgers. They've just played a couple of games more, and that's the mathematical difference. So it's a tie. Why do I want the Dodgers' best player, possibly an MVP candidate, to ruin his swing just so ESPN can pat itself on the back over having a night of programming? Up yours, ESPN. No thank you. Now, after he got eliminated, Betts told the LA Times that he realized something. That he doesn't know how to hit home runs. Quote, "It sounds crazy, but I just don't know how to do it," unquote. Guerrero eliminated Betts with 26 home runs in the first round, to which Betts replied, quote, 26 was reachable, but it's reachable for someone who knows how to hit home runs, unquote. I'd be lying to you if I claimed to be an expert on the Major League Baseball draft. There's 20 rounds. There's 32 teams. Do you really want me to act like I know every eligible player from high school and college and junior college? Okay, sure, let's pretend for a couple of minutes. But I'm only going to do that for the first pick. Because the draft, by the way, even though it started Sunday, it's still going on. We're going to be voting for either Trump or Biden next year, and this Major League Amateur draft is still going to go on strong. So I'm not going to go through every round. The Dodgers' first pick was pushed back 10 slots because Major League Baseball likes to punish teams for being consistently over the salary cap. Your draft pick gets pushed back. That's what happened to LA. With the 36th overall pick, they took a high schooler, outfielder Kendall George, who may be the fastest guy in the draft. Now, this is an odd pick for a couple of reasons. When was the last time you have heard the name Dodgers and Speed Merchant in the same sentence? When was the last time a Dodger led the league in stolen bases? I'm not even bothering to look it up. I would just about guess it's when Dave Roberts was a player as opposed to a manager. Also, the kid's build does not suggest home run hitter, which is something the Dodgers definitely covet. The Dodgers rarely take high schoolers with their first pick, by the way. But I will tell you, there is a caveat to that. The last 3 times that they did choose a high schooler with their first pick, Gavin Lux, Corey Seager, and James Loney. Now, I really wasn't that big of a fan of James Loney, but you got to admit, getting all 3 of them to the show means that they might be onto something. Might be. Because the Dodgers then went to The Athletic and admitted that taking George was a reach. See, The Athletic listed their top 100 major league draft prospects. George wasn't on the list. So the Dodgers come right back and they're like, you know what? We have a choice. The players that we really wanted were taken. Do we take the best available player, or do we take the next guy on our list that we want? The Dodgers took the player on the list that they wanted. Quote, we just didn't want to lose him, unquote, said Vice President of Amateur Scouting Billy Gasparino. By the way, also with all these Byzantine rules regarding the draft, I realize having your first draft pick pushed back 10 spots for salary cap issues, I get that that sucks. But the Dodgers were also rewarded in the draft. When you lose free agents, you can get compensated with draft picks. They did pick up a couple for losing both Trey Turner and Tyler Anderson. Now again, I'm not going to go through every draft pick. The damn thing isn't even over yet. I have no idea when it's going to finally end. I trust the foreign soccer press about as much as I trust war reports coming out of Ukraine. They're never accurate. Oh yeah, the walls are closing in around Vladimir Putin. Oh my God, LA Galaxy are about to... No, they're not. Stop it. They're not. It's not happening. I'm not even sure I trust the American soccer press right now. If you recall, last week, the Miami Herald reported that Inter Miami was going to be sending a midfielder to the Galaxy. That hasn't happened either. But the scribes overseas have been claiming that Glasgow Rangers of the Scottish Football League have secured LAFC midfielder Jose Cifuentes for a couple of days now. And yet it hasn't happened. Right? Should the reports about Cifuentes be true? And by the way, reports about Cifuentes going to Europe, they've been consistently going on for about a year, an entire year. It's going to be a massive hit to LAFC's chances to repeat as MLS Cup winners. I mean, let's be real. LAFC is razor thin at midfield. And you're about to send your best one overseas? Now, the next guy up would be Timothy Tillman. But the last we heard of Tillman, he was clowning Mexican players before the CONCACAF Champions League final took place, and look what happened. So I'm not sure this is a good idea. Now, I'm not trying to tell you that all hope is lost. Let's not go there. LAFC has a designated player spot open. If you recall last year, the black and gold, they literally acted like Michael Corleone at the end of a Godfather movie, settling family accounts and just murdering everything in sight. When they got Giorgio Chiellini, when they got Gareth Bale. So I'm not trying to tell you that hope is lost, but where do they go if Cifuentes is sent out? There better be a plan in place. Because even now in the ESPN Power Rankings for MLS, LAFC has slumped to 9th. When the hell has that ever happened? We haven't heard a lot about Damian Lillard to the Clippers ever since the sharpshooter made his initial trade demand out of Portland, and there's a reason for that. The Athletic's Shams Charania went on a podcast that I don't have time to listen to and said, quote, whether it's the Clippers, whether it's the Celtics, those are among the 2 teams I've heard that have a level of interest in Damian Lillard. I think the answer has been a resounding no. He wants to be in Miami, period. The Kings introduced Pierre-Luc Dubois yesterday, and the incoming forward, who is possibly the heir apparent to Anze Kopitar as the team's top center, said he hopes his time in Los Angeles will change some minds. See, Dubois is seen as selfish, because he's a young man and he's already on his 3rd team. I'm willing to give the dude a mulligan on that because he began his career in Columbus. I've been to Columbus. I would rather dive into a swimming pool of Hunter Biden's used syringes than to spend another day in Columbus, Ohio. Now, as for how he plans to contribute, Dubois said he wants to follow Kopitar's lead. Quote, "There's a lot of things you can do to win a hockey game. I look at a guy like Kopitar, the things he does on the ice. Sometimes he doesn't get the recognition he should, but he's won 2 Stanley Cups." CBSSports.com asked that aside from quarterbacks, who is under the most pressure to succeed in the NFL? One of the answers that they came up with, Chargers offensive coordinator Kellen Moore. The scribe suggested that Moore is there not only to boost Justin Herbert, but to potentially save Brandon Staley's job. Yeah, that's not pressure cooking at all, is it? That's not being thrown in the crock pot of life. Wow. I can't really argue with that either, by the way. I mean, I'm not trying to clown Brandon Staley. He was terrific as the Rams defensive coordinator. But the Chargers were loaded with a lot of talent last year. But we also, continuing on the Chargers, you and I, we need to have a talk about Austin Ekeler. Again, yeah. See, there's this dude who sometimes writes for Sports Illustrated websites, and he got all up in his feelings because some other dude, I know this is sounding like a high school gossip column right now, isn't it? Some other writer ranked Ekeler as only the 6th best running back in the NFL. Oh, that's not fair. He's better than Josh Jacobs. No, he's not better than Josh Jacobs. Stop it. Austin Ekeler is the byproduct of people who confuse fantasy football with real life. We got to stop that. Ekeler catches a lot of passes. Ekeler scores a lot of touchdowns. That impacts fantasy football. The Chargers offense moves all the way down the field until they get to about the 2-yard line, and then Ekeler gets those final 2 yards, and then he starts strumming his imaginary ukulele, thinking he's a badass, tiptoe through the tulips, singing like Tiny Tim. That does not make him an elite running back. He racks up a ton of fantasy points. He does not run the football. Austin Ekeler has never rushed for 1,000 yards in his career. And by the way, if you're going to talk rankings, not only is Austin Ekeler not a top 5 running back, Austin Ekeler was the number 18 running back when it came to rushing yards last year. 18. So anybody who puts Austin Ekeler in their top 10 might be stretching it. He's not better than Josh Jacobs. He's not better than Derrick Henry. He's not better than Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, Dalvin Cook. Do I need to go on? He's not better than Travis Etienne, Christian McCaffrey. How many names do I have to list off? Austin Ekeler is not a top 5 running back. He doesn't need to be paid like a top 5 running back. He's barely a top 10 running back if you count the receptions. So stop it. UCLA basketball coach Mick Cronin said Pac-12 Freshman of the Year Adem Bona will be ready to go for fall practice. Now, Bona is recovering from a shoulder injury that knocked him out of the semifinal round of the Pac-12 tournament. The 6'10" Nigerian did return for the Bruins. He played for UCLA in the round of 32 in the NCAA tournament for about 20 minutes. But let's be real, he wasn't the same player. So Cronin is at least giving a hint of optimism for the Bruins in the upcoming year. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Let me know if you're a little bit more at ease with Mookie Betts keeping his swing for your first place Dodgers. Let me know what you think about the Clippers without being in the running for Damian Lillard, or for LAFC if they lose Jose Cifuentes. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.